it happened in Russia in the 20s. If you weren't diversified outside of Russia, you were screwed. Happened in Germany in the 30s. You were screwed if you weren't diversified outside of Germany. Happened in Eastern Europe, and then in China in the 40s, then the Congo, Cuba, Iran in the 80s, Rwanda in the 90s, Zimbabwe more recently. So there'll be lots more of these things. And I actually think the U.S. is walking a tightrope now. I think it's next on the dance card. So, but this is all part of history. Here's an interesting observation about your personal freedom. Do you know that 100 years ago, you could go almost anywhere in the world and you didn't need a passport? All you needed was transportation to get there. And even up to the 1930s, you could get on a plane with a weapon and nobody thought twice about it. Remember Indiana Jones? He carried his revolver with him everywhere, and that's really the way it was as late as the 30s. In fact, as late as the 60s, you could get on a plane. I mean, I got on planes when I was a teenager, and I had a pistol and a rifle, and I just threw them up in the overhead compartment. And then when I sat down, the stewardess was passing out 3 packs of cigarettes. So that here I am, an armed kid, and the stewardess is giving me cigarettes to smoke. I mean, things have changed a lot since the 1960s. But it's not just that. Remember when you used to get stopped by a cop? Some of you guys that are my age, what I remember, and I used to get stopped by the cops a lot, is you'd get out of your car and you'd walk over to the cop's car, like neutral ground between the two of you. Now, you know, and you could have a discussion. But that's not the way it works anymore. You better not get out of your car. In fact, you better not take your hands off the steering wheel where he can see them. And when the cop stops you today, I promise you that he's not going to come up right next to you. He's going to come up about 2 feet in back of you, which they've been taught is safer in case somebody goes to shoot them. And the cops have been militarized today. In fact, most of them are ex-military because military are given preferential hiring when they go to work for the police. And I promise you, they picked up all kinds of bad habits when they're in the military. And of course, every small town in this country has a SWAT team now. All of them. Everybody even has SWAT teams. Aspen, Colorado, where I live, which is an epicenter of riots and violent crime, they have a SWAT team. 10 people are on that SWAT team. And all these towns are being, APCs are being bought. The cops confiscate about $1.6 billion of stuff every year. They confiscate it, and they can use most of that to buy new toys for themselves. So police are going the wrong way. Cops are no longer peace officers in this country, the way they mostly used to be. You can forget about Officer Krupke. You can forget about Andy Griffith and Mayberry, okay? There are thousands, I understand the number is 6,000 to 7,000 SWAT raids every year, breaking down doors at dawn, sometimes at 3 o'clock in the morning. So this is a trend. This is a straw in the wind that I think that you ought to be paying attention to. The cops aren't your friends. That's another point I want to make. It's that, on the side of their cars, they say protect and serve. This is nonsense. Cops have 3 loyalties, just like soldiers do. Number 1, they're loyal to other cops. That's number 1. Just like soldiers, their first loyalty is to the other guys. Second loyalty is to the people that pay their salaries, okay? Third loyalty is to the enemy, the people that are out there policing, okay? And that's more and more in evidence today. So things are changing all over the country. I mean, you've heard about the new NSA facility in Utah that can keep forever and monitor instantly every phone call, every email message, every Twitter. It's all there. You've heard about the 72 fusion centers that are around the U.S., and who knows what they're doing, but they're fusing together information. You got the TSA, which they found 60,000 people that weren't doing something better that went to work for them. And now they're expanding from the airports, where they're becoming more and more aggressive, into Viper teams. They're going into the railways. They're going into NFL games. They're actually starting to stop people on the highways. They're starting to do this in some states. So it's really getting quite out of control. And of course, now you know about drones too, so that everything can be monitored all the time and recorded. So these are all very disturbing things. And you might think that maybe it'll stop or turn around, but it won't, because the nature of bureaucracy, like any living thing, is to grow and accrete. And there are no market forces like profitability or customer satisfaction that'll turn it around. So of course it's going to get worse and keep growing.